Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Oriyomi Hamzat has joined the Oyo race. We have a news splash here. Shade speeches in the race for Agodi. The man of the people is making his move. Ibadan's radio king and the chairman of Agidigbo FM, Oriyomi Hamzat, has sent the Oyo State political circle into a frenzy. Over the weekend, Hamzat delivered an emotional and fiery speech that many are calling a masterclass in political shading, addressing his critics in the Oyo governorship race. Hamzat didn't hold back, positioning himself as the voice of the marginalized while dismissing his opposition as being out of touch with the streets. As the race for the next occupant of the Agodi government house heats up, Hamzat's influence over the masses through his radio platform is becoming a factor that traditional politicians can no longer ignore. All right, so you know the media landscape as well as anyone. Can a radio presenter truly transition from the microphone to the governor's seat? Or is Hamzat just shaking the table to see who falls all? That will be my question for you. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with today's show. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you are notified when we go live. We'll be right back in exactly about 20 seconds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun, welcome back, sir.
Good to be back, Ola.
All right.
Thank you very much. Right.
Great. You remember my question? I mean, we had a show where it came out of Sahara Reporters.
That's right.
But also, I think in the history of politics, both in Nigeria and America, I think a lot of people have, we probably have a lot of journalists in history that became politicians, right?
That's right. Even in Nigeria.
Even Nigeria. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us.
You want me to give a rundown of the names of such individuals?
Please, but more importantly, I want to know your take on Oriyomi Hamzat.
Yeah, for Oriyomi Hamzat, I think his popularity is going to be put to the test on the political block. And he is a man that's done so much to adhere himself to the hearts of a lot of subaltern people that society ordinarily, particularly in Nigeria, would have loved to ignore. Hamzat, Oriyomi, and probably the other two people in the history of Nigerian media that have done that in contemporary times will be the man called Ahmed Berekete, radio family in Abuja.
Right.
He wields enormous influence and is able to speak truth to power. Even when you think you have his back to the wall, he's able to negotiate his way through and still smiling through. You know, people call him ordinary president. He wields enormous power. The other person, I do not know if I want to put him ahead of Hamzat, Oriyomi, and Berekete, ordinary president. But let me say, the other person in that ilk will be Omoyele Sowore.
Okay.
However, the whatever anybody is saying here, anybody that is in doubt as to whether Hamzat Oriyomi will be able to gain traction would have to check the antecedents of a lot of first-generation politicians in Nigeria. They first forayed into media entrepreneurship, were skilled as news hands, and I'm talking of people like the late Albert Macaulay. I'm talking of somebody like the late Dr. Nandi Azikiwe. I'm talking of another person, the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
Right.
And up north, there were so many of such people that, had so much influence. Some of them may not even have owned their own newspaper organizations, but as wizards of the pen. You're talking of Alhaji Adamu Siroma. You're talking of the late Abidina Kumasi. You're talking of Issa Funchua. These people were highly influential. And coming back to the international sphere, would look like, all right, journalists in America do not just jump into the fray. They engineer things, influence things, set the agenda from behind the scene. And you'll be talking of somebody like Oprah Winfrey. You'll be talking of people like Elon Musk. You know, he's also a media goon with his next platform, formerly known as Twitter, and then the founder of Facebook, and thousands of other newspaper entrepreneurs. And so sometimes, and it's not even sometimes, that is why, because of the enormous influence of people in the media, that profession in itself, whether you're talking of it as a broadcast genre, you're talking of it as print genre, you're talking of it as traditional radio and television, new media, journalists, publishers, wield enormous power. And it cannot be less so in the case of Hamzat Oriyomi. Only recently, say about 3-4 years ago, it took the entire place by storm, exposing a key figure, a key Nigerian figure, rich man, stupendously wealthy man, with all the accompanying arrogance. The popular Rahim Adedoyin of Ile-Ife, who was linked to the murder of one Mr. Adegoke, a master's student of Obafemi Awolowo University. But for the intervention of Hamzat Oriyomi, that matter would not have had a positive closure. And Hamzat Oriyomi, through various means, continues to even play the ombudsman, making efforts to improve the brand of alternative, what's it called? Alternate dispute resolution, ADR mechanism. So he's somebody that cannot be ignored. As to whether he will do well, do not forget that with Oyo State political landscape, you do not only have to be very brilliant. Your tongue has to be razor sharp. And you must not have a razor sharp tongue. You also must be very witty. I think if this guy is going to go for that run, he is enormously equipped for it. And you will be surprised how much of influence he will wield, not only on social media, also people who have always hold on to him, begging him for justice that is not often served in a timeless and justiciable fashion by the Nigerian state. So, for anybody to think that his dream, his vision will not gain traction, it started like just a joke, and I did not believe it initially. But from what I know about this guy, I do not know him one-on-one, I do not know him personally, but you can also call me an authority in studying him concerning his modus operandi, the things he's been able to tackle in terms of a very difficult socio-political and economic issues of our time, particularly in Oyo State. I have no doubt that his idea may fly. However, the question again to arise would be that, okay, is Oyo State mainly for Ibadan? people? Is it not supposed to be for Ibadans, Ibarakpas, the people of Okeogun, and Ogbomosho, or your Fiditi, everywhere? So if an Ibadan, son of the soil, Governor Seyi Makinde, is exiting the scene, and then, like some people are suspecting that is Hamzat Oriyomi going to be the anointed heir to the governorship seat. I do not love to look at it as a coronation or as a royalty. I just love to play along with the common people of Oyo State. Is he the anointed? But people say they are very close. People say a lot of power brokers in that state love Hamzat Oriyomi, and that they love to bring power back to common folks in Oyo State. To that extent, Nigerians may be in for a shocking moment. But when you look at the fact that somebody like Minister Adelabu, the current Minister of Power in Nigeria, is also jostling to join the race, or has been in the race, even when the ban had not been lifted months back, threatening this and that. People will say, what are the political antecedents of Hamzat Oriyomi? People will look at him as a grassroots mobilizer, a man who fights for justice for common folks. But in the case of Adelabu, yes, he had eminent and prominent political pedigree. His late father, otherwise known as Penkele Mercy or Peculiar Mercy. That is, somebody that used to be described as the storming petrel of Ibadan politics during the First Republic. Yes, you will think, oh, it will be a walkover. But when people put on the block the performance of Minister Adelabu as Minister of Power, that power that is never stable and available in Nigeria, and that has become a thing of class, band A, band B, band C, band D, people will think that Hamzat Oriyomi will be a uniter, while somebody like Minister Adelabu would further classify Nigerians as if Nigeria is apartheid South Africa. Thank you very much.
Wow. So I'm looking at some of the reports across the board. I mean, it's mixed. It's quite mixed, and I've seen some comments saying, well, it'll be interesting, but he doesn't have a chance. But the crowd that I saw, it looks like they were at the stadium yesterday. That crowd, and also when it comes to what you might want to consider to be a connection to the streets, but like you just said, a connection to the streets in Ibadan might be different from the Oyo State at large, right? What is that going to look like? Is this for someone to become a governor in Oyo State? If you take the whole of Ibadan, which is the biggest city in Africa, is that enough? The largest city.
The largest indigenous.
So what's the difference? Can you please enlighten me on that? What's the difference between a largest city in Africa or largest indigenous?
Oh, okay. What it means is that Ibadan has always had a kind of this geopolitical positioning as a tribal-centric and indigenous Yoruba political headquarters and settlement.
Okay.
Yes, okay. And settlement. Remember, in the beginning of time, the different Ibas, Iba Oluyole, and that of, with the Prince Lagelu originally came from Ilefe. We do not really have much time to go into that, but what we're saying is that amongst the cities that were indigenous to Africa, not flanked based on modern architectonics of urban planning, the tools introduced by Western European colonizers, Ibadan has no challenge anywhere. And you will remember that when a certain European researcher came to Nigeria around 1940s, he surmised that about 40-something% of the big settlements in Nigeria were concentrated in Yoruba land. And he was looking at settlements that had more than 5,000 people. Yorubas have this cosmopolitan city-state kind of approach to what's it called? To establishing their settlements, towns, and villages. And we always have the councils almost, so it's not even almost, it was a kind of democratic structure with inbuilt checks and balances, not just in Oyo Kingdom, but in all the other several kingdoms all over Yoruba land. So that is what we say. It is a traditional, typical African settlement, and has grown on that model up to now. That is the largest. But when you're talking of modern cities,
yeah,
of Lagos, you may be talking of Abuja, Cairo,
Johannesburg, Nairobi.
Yes, all those places. Yes. So, all right. However, in Oyo State, people who do not understand the way indigenous people, the way common folks can seize power and make nonsense of elites, would want to doubt if Hamzat Oriyomi vision, political dream will fly. You do not underrate the average Ibadan person. When they rally,
when it comes to politics, when it comes to grassroots politics,
yes, you will be hearing them. And they got this language thing. Of course, I told you my encounter with the late Alhaji Aziz Arishekola Alao, and his claims about, the Yoruba you speak. But for us Ibadan people, you would not be able to speak this fine brand of Central Yoruba. I said, Are etidenu, you like too much controversy. So why would you tell me that Yoruba that is supposed to belong to all of us? He said, the Yoruba you are speaking is that native to Akure. And then I began to do further digging. And I found out that certain of these claims may be right, certain of the claims may be out of point. But the point we are making here is that do not underrate the average Ibadan person when it comes to political leverage. They will tell you he is a son of the soil. Omowalejo say, and that may be the dog whistle, and that could be what will flip the table in his favor.
Right, that makes sense.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, go ahead and finish your thoughts, sir.
Yeah, and sometimes, the common folks will be tired of all the shenanigans of so-called educated, elites. And it's not as if Hamzat Oriyomi is not well educated. From what I even heard, apart from his eminent educational pedigree from the Polytechnic in Ibadan, Iruwa and Ibadan, I think somebody was telling me that he probably has also indicated a PhD. I do not know.
It's possible. He's Alhaji, but his main title is Alhaji.
That Alhaji is something I really do not really like most times, because it alienates our people from their own. Alhaji, let him stay in Mecca and play his politics. But if you are not a perpetual, if you are not a Johnny Walker, a man on perpetual work or journey, if you are not an RA, why must you embrace the title of Alhaji?
That's a message to.
Yes.
That's topic for another day.
Yes, but whatever he wants to do, he has look at the late Governor Bisi Onabanjo of Ogun State, of Ayekoto newspaper column fame, brilliant journalist, Alhaji Lateef Kayode Jakonde of what's it called, John West Publications, brilliant journalist. Look at our own living legend, Chief Olusegun Oshoba. No. If anybody is saying that people in the media cannot make a successful run concerning political offices, I think they need to start thinking otherwise. The antecedents, the antecedents of Nigerian great politicians that we have, the catalog, proves them wrong. That is the point I'm making.
Okay. Well, here's what the reports are saying about, and I want to use this to ask the audience a question so we can move on to the other story. They're saying the supporters, of course, primarily listeners on Agirigbo FM, they're viewing this as a historic moment. And they said at his declaration, massive crowds showed up, and the narrative is that he is the Redeemer, coming to take Oyo back from traditional politicians. People are calling this movement a third force that bypasses the PDP and APC entirely. But the elite, the political elite, and some critics are dismissing him as a populist entertainer. They are questioning whether his success on the microphone can translate to managing the complex economy of Oyo State. The main criticism is broadcasting is not governance. But I feel like they probably said that about every single one of those people too, right?
Just wait. Internationally, everybody dismissed the current president of Ukraine as a comedian. But politicians, while in office, actually ended up being the comedians. And these people, that some of these pundits and analysts would want to dismiss as of no consequence. They have always performed while in office. So it really does not matter if it's Agirigbo. Go and check the followership of the listenership of Agirigbo Radio. It's a traditional platform. Check his Facebook following and other social media handles, and then you will understand that this guy is a phenomenon. So
it's quite. I don't want them to think we are campaigning for Hamzat, but it's quite interesting. It looks like you were reading my mind, because actually here they call it the Zelensky effect.
That's it.
All right, let's just leave it at that.
We never really even. What it shows you, Ola, is that here, ahead of so-called mainstream media pundits and what have you, we strike it the way we ought to, in a very concise way. And then when they come tomorrow, they will just be taking a cue after us concerning our take on the contemporary political, economic, and social dynamics of the time we live in.
Right on. All right, that makes sense.
And for our shameless critics, who say, "Oh, IQ low," and at least they give us credit for having some IQ. There are people without any, and so you see how we handle this. Thank you very much.
That's interesting. That will be interesting. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. Turn up your notifications. Let's navigate into some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Trump's Greenland tariff blackmail. A 10% tax on America's oldest allies. President Trump is using the big stick to buy an island, and Europe is striking back. President Trump has officially ignited a trade war with Europe over his desire to purchase Greenland. On Saturday, from West Palm Beach, the president announced a 10% import tax, set to rise to 25% by June on 8 European nations, including the UK, France, and Germany. The reason? The refusal to support a US takeover of the Danish territory. European leaders are calling it commercial blackmail, with France's Emmanuel Macron threatening to activate the EU's Big Bazooka, a powerful anti-coercion law to retaliate against American goods. Trump, however, remains defiant, mocking Denmark's defense as two dog sleds and insisting Greenland is a matter of U.S. national security. We're seeing the most aggressive American foreign policy in a century. Is this negotiation, right? Is this a situation where we have to study Trump? Is Trump what is going on here? What's your take on this, sir?
Well, it's President Donald Trump of America as a creative way of fighting back when he has his back pinned to the wall or to the ground. So everything you see him doing here, how, for example, is Greenland, a Danish territory, supposed to be of security asset or security value to the United States of America? All kinds of theories have been pushed up. Honestly, many of these will never convince any serious-minded watcher of international politics. And the truth of the matter is that this is something that has the capability, the possibility of dismantling the post-Second World War alliance built around the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. And so if he is claiming today, and in that treaty, of course, America happened to be the most significant signatory to that protocol. And so when he talks today about, he's going to go it alone, ram it through, and if they do not support him, he imposes tariff. So all the tariffs that he has imposed has been of no effect, other than in Africa, where people do not easily grow tough spine to stand up to bullies and what have you, where countries like Ghana and what have you would want to quickly kiss the imperial ring. It's not really working. All those so-called tariffs imposed here and there, we Americans are the ones picking the bills. And I'm saying that with all conviction. So, I mean, when he suddenly wakes up and says, you do not go the way I want it, you are wondering, what is he talking about? When he suddenly wakes up and says, probably is now the de facto destiny shaper for a country like Venezuela, you are wondering, what is he talking about? And when he says, he will take out the leader of Iran, irresponsible as those theocratic mullahs who are running the show in Iran are, people who are killing God in the name of killing poor people, protesters. And when he says he's going to strike against them, and then you are asking, but this is the same president in the United States turning out these ICE people, the immigration enforcement people, with unrestrained orders to target American protesters here. So who is going to put him in check? So when you see that, check all the polls, all those bluffing, the bragging that he's doing about taking over Greenland is something to mitigate against the influence of Russia and other. But why does he find it so cool to kiss up to the Russian strongman, Vladimir Putin? But on the political stage, it's just like playing the people. And this is made possible because his political base, or let's say the Republican Party itself, does not really have enough strength or enough fiber in its being to say, no, this is going beyond the acceptable. But midterm elections are coming, and you check all the polls. This man is underwater. So the tariffs that is worked on, intimidating and trying to bully everybody into line, it really does not affect those countries against which the tariffs are targeted. Look at the among us, what's it called? Surplus, budgetary surplus declared by China in this past year, more than $1 trillion. Weigh that against what America was able to rake in. So, like we would say in Nigeria, it's like the bile killing itself, thinking, oh, he is killing the dog. Epankpare, Olongpaja. So when he is done isolating everybody, I mean, even as you and I are talking, look at the needless campaign to destroy the chairman of Federal Reserve Bank. So when you corner him, he must invent certain antics to wriggle himself out so that you do not focus on him. So let us think twice before anybody begins to feel like, oh, Donald Trump has sneezed again. Everybody is shivering or catching cold. No. I think the system is actually pushing back against him. And I think time is running out fast against him, not in terms of anything outlandish, other than the fact that just around the corner, some political reckoning, retribution is coming for him. This is the way I look at it. But that he will take over Greenland, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. And that is why you see Europe, I fear that we may be gravitating so fast towards the world situation, but we will never get there. Because this time around, you know that so many countries have nuclear weapon leverage, but you never can tell what he knows. But nobody is going to allow him to get so erratic so as to have that thought of annihilating humanity. But the truth of the matter here is that he would be forced to go back to that model that says the vast majority of the world, the moral majority, would rather defend rather than being aggressive and belligerent. And do you see similarities between his vision, his dark vision, and that of Vladimir Putin and the North Korean people and China?
Let me ask you this, sir.
So this is it.
What does he want from Greenland? Because Greenland actually produces no oil, and most people that have been talking about, for example, the Venezuela situation, right? They've always said oil, right? What does he want from Greenland? Greenland has about 56,000 people in population. What does he want there? Yeah, what does he want there?
A personal fiefdom. A personal fiefdom, number one. And it's just a bluff. You know, there must be a diversion when he is cornered. This is what this is about. It is all well scripted. It is, it was well anticipated. You corner him, it's going to pop up on the other side. You know, the Yorubas will say, this guy is an ologbo. He's a trickster, political trickster. And he gets away with it easily. But then, ultimately, power belongs to the people. And I do not really see him getting away with this egregious ambition of taking over another country's territory. That will be in breach. And that will be the beginning of the unraveling of NATO. And then if that happens because of his action, that will play to the script, the interpretation people have always had, that this guy could be, what's it called? Could be a proxy for Russia to make sure that NATO is crippled. And people should pay attention to that. We are the first to say this now, before they say, oh, no IQ. You see the way IQ is working? It's about not entertaining, not giving room for failure of imagination and intelligence. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm reading a little bit of something on BBC. They're saying, he's claiming national security, of course, but they're saying it was a strategic location for potential nuclear missiles, and it's something that they've always planned since the Cold War, So, but we'll see, maybe some more people can add to that.
If that is going to be true, Of course, all the British forces, they don't come out, blazing like any other person. You know them. Anyway, if that is true, it's not going to be actualized through a go it alone policy. Everybody has to, it will take a concerted effort. Everybody has to sit around table to take that decision. And everybody involved in this is NATO. This is what we're talking about.
Right. Okay. I mean, the latest news is that they're having an emergency meeting in Europe right now. So we see what the outcome of it becomes. We'll see.
I can predict safely that it will be a tough pushback against this rabid thought of a takeover of another person's land. It's not going to happen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Let's move on to some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. The Fubara impeachment counter-strike. Let's see what's going on with Rivers State. Court orders secret panels and a governor who says he isn't going anywhere. Rivers State is on a knife edge tonight. The political war in Rivers State reached a fever pitch this weekend as Governor Similayi Fubara successfully crippled a third attempt by the House of Assembly to remove him from the office. On Friday, a high court in Oyigbo issued a sweeping interim injunction restraining the chief judge from setting up any investigative panel to probe the governor for gross misconduct. Despite the court order, the Wike-aligned assembly maintains that the process is already in motion. Governor Fubara appeared at a public event on Saturday, boldly declared to the world, "I'm still the governor of Rivers State," but with 4 lawmakers recently performing a U-turn to rejoin the impeachment camp, the question is, has Fubara truly won his round, or is he just buying time before the next explosion? So, Chief, as a high chief of your own kingdom, how do you see this clash between the judiciary and the legislative playing out? The last time I saw something like this, it was I don't pay that much attention, but I try these days because of the platform. It was a battle between the court order to reinstate Natasha Akpoti and the Nduanga, and the senators say no. We are the boss of the judiciary. I mean, I don't know. What's your take on this?
At the end of the day, what happened? Political resolution.
I mean, if you ask me, at the end of the day, she was suspended throughout. She never made it back until she completed the suspension, right? So,
well, it dragged on in court, and nobody should also expect that she would just play the Chinese. What's it called? The Chinese bull, just railroading herself into the hallowed chambers of the National Assembly. She followed due process, but ultimately she's back there, and she remained very active while the so-called suspension was done. Now to the issue of Similayi Fubara and Wike.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, if former Governor Nyesom Wike successfully pulls this through, I don't think it's going to just be a defeat for Similayi Fubara. It's also going to be a personal spite on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And like the Yorubas will say, somebody who brags, a brave hunter who says, "Oh, it's so powerful, it's so strong, it's got so much charm, magic, black magic," and then uses a hat to kill a buffalo or an elephant. You know that his fame is just going to last for that second where he made that claim. For claiming that, oh, I'm so brave and I'm so powerful that I used a strike of my heart to kill an elephant or buffalo. Every person thereafter who had initially clapped for him, you will find out that subsequently they will be avoiding him. That he is an evil, dangerous person that everybody should avoid. If Wike successfully engineers, orchestrates the
impeachment,
the political downfall of Simlaye Fubara, it's just going to last for that moment. Let me tell you, the people he's been using are going to turn against him ultimately to destroy him. He should, if he's listening to us, he should go and write that down. That is a major power dynamic. A major power dynamic. He should understand that. So everybody is clapping for him, whether it's a face-off between the legislature and the judiciary. It would be of little consequence, of little importance, of little relevance at this moment. It's about the ambition of one individual seeing himself as a godfather that could pull down an entire state. So he thinks he's stronger than the teeming citizens of River State. I do not know how this guy reasons, and I do not know people who are advising him. And you hear all kinds of stuff. But I suspect that APC would not sit back. At this moment, if I were one of those people, of course, I'm a journalist, I do not have that kind of leverage. But if I were one of those advising President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, before tomorrow's dawn, yes, Wike will be cooling off at Kuje or any other correctional facility in Nigeria. I would make sure, I'm talking as somebody who would let him know that he's got to be humble or be humbled. That, so you really mean it in your imagination. You are so fascinated by this, thinking that you can humiliate a whole elected leader of a state, and that he's getting away with it. And people are clapping for him. Ola, like the Yorubas will say, it is always a sweet experience to watch a lunatic in the marketplace. But would anybody desire to have such a loony for a child? Everything Wike is doing, and is entertaining and dancing naked and doing all those razzmatazz. Would anybody want to have him, other than people in his family today, would anybody want to really have him as a father? I know I would not want to have such a character as my father. I would not even want to have him as my brother or uncle. Somebody who doesn't really understand how to set limits. He does not know when to stop. That is really something. So this is the accident that would have chanced on the Nigerian presidency. This is the person that would probably have ended up as a vice president to Atiku. Of course, the dynamics is different when you are dealing with a northerner who is in charge. Atiku would have dealt with him the way he would have regretted, and reasonably. That's why they tried everything in the books to frustrate the presidential ambition of Atiku Abubakar. Because with this guy bifurcating presidential authority, who is he? Who the heck is he? Other than being a minister of the Federal Capital Territory. And then it's just causing confusion everywhere, stoking up trouble wherever he goes. Oh no. So this whole thing, and for the 4 lawmakers who decided to go back, a U-turn. It's not as if they ever told anybody. Of course, you listen to their double speak anyway. The polemics, you had them. They were saying, oh, of course, the governor broke some rules. That was a clue to any of us that was watching.
The clue I'm getting here is absolute witch hunt. That's the clue I'm getting. Although I don't know fully, but I know I know these are politicians and these are gruesome cold politicians. It's Nigeria, so I can't
People
take
should
sides. But
we are not going to take sides. But the deal is this, Ola. The people should pay attention. Why is it that they run the political structure as if it's a cult of power? Why is it that they are not speaking up about, why are they bothering, why are they disturbing the majority of us with their plots and subterfuge, their betrayers and what have you? You know, these are the concerns involved here. It's really not good for the mental health of most Nigerians. And you know the statistics from World Health Organization about the state of mind of the average Nigerian. This is what is further complicated by the crazy and lunatic conduct of people like Nyesom Wike. So what is next? If they succeed at removing Simlaye Fubara, are they going to remove him from the head? And if they succeed at doing that, would they not also leave this world one day? After all, after 8 years, Nyesom Wike is elsewhere. Everything he said, because he has no courage of convictions on anything. Everything he said, he ate back. He held back his vomit. Oh, he will never work under APC. Oh, when he leaves office, he will not disturb whoever is going to be governor. As he lived up to, yes.
Yeah, but he will claim that he didn't want to leave his children in harm's way because Fubara is moving mad. That's probably what he's going to claim now.
But Simlaye Fubara has been a gentleman to the core. They have a really rubbished him. They've said so many things about him, and what have you? He continues to mind his own business. There's so much rubbish in that you wonder, is this an elected governor? Oh no. All of us should be careful. The instruction here is that, what's it called? The lesson of this, the moral of it is that we should be careful where we go to, who we go to accept favors, to seek favors. He's got this favor from Nyesom Wike, and it's been used to blackmail and really take away his peace. This is the thing.
All right. Let us know what you think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. We'll be right back. Hit the like button right now. Thank you. All right, so you were just talking about Nigerian people, mental health, and all that kind of stuff. But I've heard at least some reports that Nigerians are some of the happiest. Sorry, pardon my manners. Pardon my manners. Everybody. Now we're moving into the final segments. We've had the hard news, so let's soften up a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. The High Chief, publisher, editor-in-chief of SharpEdgeNews.com, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Ola. Yeah. Always a pleasure to be back with you and then connect with our
people.
Folks all over,
yes.
Our people all over. It's the community.
SharpEdge Nation.
Yes. In spite of the fact that some people look at it that people are watching us. Look at the major spike we had last week.
No, let me before let's not just say that. Let's give them numbers, okay? Let's give them numbers. As you know, we do this kind of like in the middle of the night, but we have to work it out like that. In the last 28 days, we've had about 14,325 people stroll through this block over here. We've had about 22 brand new subscribers. Shout out to the subscribers. But the views is really what we look at. We ask you. We've noticed that majority of people watching, they're not subscribing. But YouTube is going to show it to you anyway if you're engaged. But we still want to see those numbers. We like it when you subscribe. Also, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So do us a favor. Make sure you're subscribing as you're watching. But the reality is that we've had about, like I said, in the last 28 days alone, about 14,000 people have strolled through here. About 132,000 hours of view time. And in terms of, let me see here, I can tell you another nice number. We can see here that we've had about we have YouTube is also promoting. We have about 95% new viewers. So let's make sure that we're subscribing so that you can continue to get notified when we drop videos. But we see you when we stroll by. Just to add to your point, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So we are not going to be intimidated. We are not going to be. We will not succumb to that mind game that says, "Oh, you cannot do it." You know how some people, even with their folks, with their children, how they fail always to encourage them, and then they love to come from the angle, "Oh, it's not going to fly, it's not going to work." This is not about that. Many are called, few will be chosen.
Few are chosen.
As many as want to be part of this journey with us, and it's a community thing. Look at the stuff we do here. Compare between us and other African American, or let me say African immigrant news websites and online television channels. What we do here, how we take on the situation, because we are fully integrated as American citizens. And what we are doing is to bridge that digital divide in terms of media information and what have you, even while we live here. Some people would say, "Oh, when are they going to come for these guys? Would they be denaturalized?" Who cares? And we will never be denaturalized because we are contributing to nation building here.
Denaturalize? You know what that means?
No,
that means denaturalized. Right.
You will never be denaturalized. You were born here. But
outside of that.
For me, who became an American by
naturalization.
So these people that are deluded feel, "Oh, Donald Trump." Donald Trump also understands that people of like us, we are contributing. We didn't just start our media work, our journalism work 2 days ago. This is what we have always been professionally. And so when somebody wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, somebody will say, "Oh, you are going crazy." Somebody, if you examine you, and then you are wondering, isn't this person the one that?
Chief. You know what I want to do? I really want to give you this World Happiness Report thing. I don't want us to spend. We're too much of happy people, and we don't want to spend too much time on haters.
You know, laughing about it all. You know, this thing, the fact that people are happy. Okay, so when you see somebody who doesn't even have anything or any one around them, and then they jiggle at times, isn't a smile? A smile is not supposed to be a measure of being happy, or when you laugh. So,
are Nigerians suffering from mental health issue caused by their politicians?
Not just that alone, Ola. It's part of the coping mechanisms for the average Nigerian.
Smiling and suffering.
Yes, for example, Nigerians would lose valued members of a family, valued friends, known people. Yet, you see the funfair which people are really sent forth to the great beyond. We will lose our people. We will still lose our deposit in the bank sometimes. And when you don't do it elaborately like that, Nigerians will accuse you of being stingy. But when you also, Nigerians, instead of going to borrow to really build industries, improve productive capacity and all that, they would rather spend money on trying to. And when people come around me and they say, "Oh, did you see that party where Yinka Ayefele played and all that?" I'm like, "Well, I saw it, and so what about it? It will be what it will be." So that is all you live for? So,
all right.
So tell you they are happy. Does that really take away from the fact that mental health challenges?
Now you're making a good point, because if we keep saying that to ourselves, let me read this to you, and I want to get your take on it. It says, first of all, it says World Happiness Report 2025-2026. Nigeria currently ranks 105th out of 147 countries. So essentially, say within Africa, Nigeria has dropped to around 10th or 12th place.
We were the happiest on the face of the earth at the time.
Yes.
Nigerians
so they're dropping.
Nigeria has happened to so many Nigerians. Nobody is smiling anymore.
Okay.
Nobody is smiling anymore.
So wait, sir. So it says, are we still the world's optimistic people, or is the suffering and smiling era officially over? For years, the world pointed at Nigeria as a miracle of happiness, a nation that could laugh in the face of any hardship. But the latest 2025 World Happiness Report tells a different story. Nigeria has slipped to 105th globally, falling behind 11 other African nations, while we still rank in the top 10 for helping strangers and communal resilience. The daily grind of inflation and insecurity is taking its toll. Experts are saying our famous resilience, what Fela Kuti called suffering and smiling, is being stretched to its absolute breaking point.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen Nigeria through the oil boom, the recessions. That's why I'm asking that question. Are we really happy?
Yes, it's not, like this, and the simple answer is this. It's always been ephemeral. It's always been pyrrhic. It's always been fake. And what else do we need to convince ourselves? The society is no longer smiling. The society is no longer laughing. So this is just it. And for everybody that is just cooking up all sorts, they bring all figures. You know what this is taking. What toll this is taking on your pocket as somebody who supports members of extended family back in Africa. Not just you. So many of us watching us tonight, so many of the people that will have the opportunity of seeing this show, they will affirm or they say, oh, you guys are totally off key. And what is worse, somebody was telling me a few days ago, he was handling a project for somebody, and that project will cost about ₦1 million. Do you know that the owner of that project in the diaspora sent in ₦1 million? When that account will be credited in Nigeria, the Nigerian system, because of the so-called new tax reform, are taking more than 200,000 naira from that money.
Jesus Christ.
The government at home never sent you abroad, never gave you free education, never fed you, never did anything for you. And then this is the way they make you carry the burden of misdirection and misgovernance.
Wow.
And then you are saying Nigerians will be happy. Okay.
Wow.
Maybe we should start a new Alawada Republic, Awada Keri. And then, but the truth of the matter is that these people should also realize, all of us should realize, be or the Obadun, if the the household is not really, if it's not having that mayor's sweetness, every other place would just look like some wild forest. And when you make it so difficult for common folks to go out, make merry, be careful, because you may think you are insulated from whatever will happen. I pray that all those things that Jesus predicted about some place being raised up to high heavens and then brought low to Hades will not be the lot of our country. We hope for the best concerning Nigeria.
Okay, I have one more question for you, then we'll round up, right? They have, they're saying the factors here, we're talking about social media mask. Nigeria is putting on a social media mask. As a matter of fact, they say affordably now, you can have Starlinks anywhere in Nigeria for a nice fee. They're also saying the religiosity factor, okay? A lot of people's happiness are tied to faith. Let the poor say, I am rich. And
the weak say, I am strong.
I am strong.
Of what the Lord has done for us.
Right.
Special appreciation to Don Moen. Yeah.
So, personal question to you: do you see the same joy, if you did, that you see 35 years ago when you were starting off in your career? Compared to today, do you like, how would you compare on a scale of 1 to 10? Where would be 35 years ago? Where would be 2026?
Unfortunately, Ola, I'll be the wrong person to ask this kind of question. Do not forget that, in spite of the fact that our forebears, that would be my grandfather, yes, my grandfather, your great-grandfather, my father, your grandfather, and several women in the Abitogun family, to my Fagbamigbe side of the family, to my Oladimeji side of family, and then the Olagbemi family in Obaile. These people have always worked very hard, never getting anything from the Nigerian government. You understand that? Yes, these people. Yes, and when I was setting out long ago, do not forget, maybe I've told you the story of how a particular corrupt and fraudulent school principal was helping himself to donations, particularly one that came from Shifolufala, about 2,000 naira in those days, around 1986, 87. And that money was never declared, and what it was meant for was never used for the community comprehensive high school in that community. I challenged that very early in life. I did that as a member of the press club. I mean, nailed my observation about the culture of people coming to learn how to live responsibly and to be part of building a responsible society. I nailed it to the bulletin board in the school. I was called, did you write this? I never denied. People who were part of that initiative, all of them denied. But it's not my place to be naming people, to be saying, oh, this was involved and all that. You know what cowards do? I would have made a good career if I'd been in the military. Because if I plot a coup, you say, oh, I'm not going to be running my mouth and be crowing like an imbecile. This one was involved. So I carried my cross by myself. From the outset, I've always known that Nigeria will not offer you much. But
that's sad.
Blessed are you if you can slug it out. See, people like Jide Ojo, the prominent social, what's it called, media commentator in Nigeria. He writes a column for the Punch newspaper. He took over from me as the editor-in-chief of NYSC Publications when we served in Delta State, when we served in Asaba. I mean, even when I was a personal assistant to the chairman of Accra local government, then Mr. Idowu Otetubi, you know, and so on and so forth. I've always had my vision. This country will not do much for me. That's why you will see me. I will start a community newspaper. That is why, as a core member, I would do things and would invite the military administrator of Delta State to be part of whatever we were doing. And we were very successful at it. And I told everybody, me, I won't be part of those people that will be jobless in the future Nigeria, because I won't wait. And I mean,
you don't wait around.
Yes, virtually 5 days after I finished NYSC, because of people like Sir Ademola Adetula, who had seen what I had done with Brighter News, which I started in Akure. Easily they absorbed me to the Hope newspaper, and from there I never looked back. Check my record with the Comet newspaper, later the Nation newspaper. I put in my best, and God has always been there for me. So to answer your question, honestly, everybody that was expecting that Nigeria would do so much for them, that tiny court of power, they know how to scale people out and make people knock heads against each other. And when you have the misfortune of running into some of their retired civil servants, whether in relationship or anything, they have nothing to offer you other than that twisted and corrupt stuff that make you to run and run and run and run until you drop dead. Nobody deserves to live like that. So this joy does not come from the government. It's an inner thing that you sit down. How do I want to live my life? Am I going to?
You're the architect of that. You're the personally. You're the architect of your own happiness.
I'm not going to live on earth here eternally chasing dreams that just because my neighbor is riding a Mercedes Benz. Who told you that is what I really want? I will go on my own lane, and I will never covet or wish anybody well. Or wish anybody evil. For just because they are doing well. Rather, I want to even look at what I can contribute to still make you happier. This is just the way I look at life.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe. On that note, we move. We'll be back sooner than you think. Take care and God bless.